And myself, Abhishek Srivastav. I am assistant professor at UPID Noida. And our guest speaker for the day is Professor J. Ramkumar. Professor Ramkumar did his PhD from IIT Madras and is currently professor at Department of Mechanical Engineering, IIT Kanpur. He is a recipient of many fellowships and awards, which includes a Young Scientist Award by Department of Atomic Energy and IEI Young Engineers Award for his contribution in the field of production engineering. He's also the recipient of Gopal Das Bhandari Award in 2015, which is an award for distinguished teacher. I would also like to mention that in this session we are having students as well as faculty members and professionals. So I think we will have a lot to learn from this session. Going ahead, I would like to request our HOD sir, Dr. Sambhav, for the welcome address. Sambhav sir.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek. Welcome, sir, for the talk. I would just like to mention that my association with Professor Ram has been more than 15 years. So when I joined for MTech, then I met him first, and it has been very nice association. One thing I would like to mention about sir is that sir has always been eager to know something more. He has been in the area of manufacturing mechanical engineering, but he has tried to work in the area of nanocells, even biomaterials, and also he has headed the design program at IIT Kanpur, and he has a lot more to share. So I'll not take much time from sir, and I request sir to kindly proceed with his presentation. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Kumar. Thank you to the organizers for giving me an opportunity. I would put my presentation like this, I would always be happy to hang around with Kumar because Kumar Sambhav has taught me many things. And the best part of him is he does not take any tension and he gives a logical thought. Let it be a personal thing or a professional thing or a technical thing. He gives a logical thought. So that was amazing. So I enjoyed working with him. So days have flown off, like it is almost 10 years since he has graduated, and I am here back in the campus. Okay, so good evening to all of you. So today my presentation is, I am going to talk about design thinking. Design thinking is now a very hot topic which everybody talks about. So what I have done is I have taken two things. One is design thinking, which is a tool which can be used as of today for doing lot of innovations. Let me explain to you in the recent time what innovation we did. See, what happened was we were all working on this COVID, multi problems were going around. So people were saying that can we make masks, can we make personal protection equipments, can we make sanitizers, can we make hand washers. So many such things were evolving. So what happened was across the globe, people thought that just by spraying disinfection solution on top of a person, this coronavirus will keep off. And everybody across the globe has been practicing. We were also looking for solutions to practice it. But very recently, WHO, World Health Organization, came out with a small pamphlet or an information which said that spraying disinfection is going to harm individuals as well as the skin. And we thought, what is this? Very surprisingly, World Health Organization is now telling like this, but across the globe, people are working everywhere on it. Then the World Health Organization goes by in that article justifying their stand. So what they say is, they say that if you can maintain temperature above 56 degrees Celsius and ask a human to inhale, then the possibility of multiplying of this coronavirus is stopped. Apart from that, when you spray these disinfections can attack only superficially on top of a person or on the clothes. Now you see, you get a better insight. The better insight is, it is not the spraying alone. The spraying plus heat assisted is going to be a protection from corona. So then in IIT Kanpur, we started thinking, how do we bring into it? So what we quickly did was, we developed a heat chamber. And in the heat chamber, we maintained a temperature of around about 70 degrees Celsius. And what we are now practicing is, we are asking all the outsiders to our campus, any foreign person to our campus has to undergo this heat chamber treatment, stay inside the chamber for at least 15 seconds. So our understanding is, in the 15 seconds, if he inhales, then if at all there is corona inside his body, so or larynx or in nostril or with the mucus, if it is somewhere there, it will die, and you can protect spreading of corona inside the campus. So what we did is, we developed a heat chamber, and then we had a small disinfection. So disinfection spraying unit. So heat chamber for corona, so for killing the corona, and the next one is to spray disinfection, so that tries to kill whatever is there in the surface. Why I'm telling all this story is because until and unless we have a clear understanding of the problem, we can't give solutions. So design thinking is one such tool which is to be used and which tries to walk you through a process wherein which you will understand what exactly the customer wants, you will make it and satisfy his needs. So with that small introduction, I would like to enter into my presentation. So my presentation is design thinking. It is an approach. We are using this approach towards innovation. Look at these innovative products. So this innovative product which you see on the screen is a bread toaster. Okay. So here in which what people have done is, people thought the printer, whatever is available today, printer has become part and parcel of our family. Desktop, printer has become part and parcel. So every house, middle class, upper middle class, will have a printer. And today what has happened, the printers are kept even on top of a dining table, because people are trying to work while having food itself. So now printer has become part of it. Here is an innovation wherein which they have thought about, why don't we make a bread toaster wherein which we copy the concept of printer, you feed the paper in the top, the paper gets printed as and when it falls down, the printed paper falls down. So here they use the same concept, made a toaster. This toaster is now kept on top of a table, and it is more of customized. Whatever you want, you can try to increase or decrease the temperature, increase or decrease the time, increase or decrease the bread size, and do whatever you want. And now it is also customized. You can do loaf bread after bread after bread. So here you can see, like the paper, you store some 20 papers. The bread is also stored like 1 or 2 or 3 slices, so that it's exactly to a breakfast, and your breakfast is metered, so you are happy what you have a breakfast and go. So this product got evolved by using the design thinking approach. Some more innovations. Look at it. A dog is trying to lick water. See, many of us have pets today in our house. So pets have also become integral part of our family today. Right? So now when we take a dog for a walk, and when the dog is very thirsty, the current state of the art is, either you open a bottle and then pour the bottle, allow the dog to drink, or you try to pour it in your hand and make a bowl shape in your hand and feed the dog with the water. So now what has happened, it tries to spread a lot of infection. So here is an idea wherein which a water bottle is attached with a lid, and that lid you can pour water and a dog also can drink in a very decent manner. So again here it's a very, very innovative product, and here again they have started using the design thinking approach. Look at it, the tea dip, whatever we use, dip bags. The biggest problem with all these big with these bags are, moment there is a hot water, you pour everything hot, and there is a thread which comes out. Many a times this thread also tries to get pulled into the tumbler, where you have into a cup where you have very hot water. Now the only way out is in front of everybody. You have to push your hand inside. The water is extremely hot. Your hand gets burnt, or you try to use any other aid in removing the thread out. What if we use the concept of a hanger and integrate it with the tea bag? So here you see, moment the hanger is hooked onto a corner, there is a tea bag there. So the tea bag rests, and when you finish getting that concentration, you just remove the hanger and then keep it aside. So this is an innovative product. You know tea bags, you face this problem, what I say. Here is a solution for it. Next you see there is a penguin. So with a penguin you keep a cup and then you attach your tea bag to it. And here is a timer which is in the side, you can see. So this timer will try to make sure the concentration is exact whenever you have tea, so that your tea becomes, your cup of tea becomes very, very soothing for you. So now what happens is, you take, sometimes we dip more, concentration goes high, or it is less. We satisfy ourselves and we have a cup of tea. But here the consistency of the product is there. And again, this can be kept on top of your table, and people would love to see the penguin, but the penguin also plays a functional purpose of holding your dip bags while dipping it inside. So you see, these are innovative products. The next innovation is that people know carry bag, this travel bag, trolley bag. People try to take this trolley bag or sky bag, whatever you say, suitcase. They try to use this suitcase and they pack everything for a week or for 2 days or 3 days. When I go abroad for 15 days, we just dump it everything inside and then we take it and go. But when we go, when we have wanted to do unpack whatever we have packed it inside, we always have a problem that this has to be displayed in the 2-dimensional space. Or when you keep it inside the suitcase, when you try to pull out one shirt, the other shirt gets disturbed. What if we can use the existing structure of a suitcase and then have some attachment to it, convert it into a wardrobe, wherein which in this wardrobe it clearly gives you space and you can allocate and keep your dress, whatever it is. And in the side there are fixtures where you can keep the toiletry kits, and make use of the space and the dresses in a very, very professional manner. Wardrobe is known. Building up the wardrobe using modular pipes, the concept is stolen from the plastic PVC, the sofa set you buy, or the small dining tables which are available. And the trolley bag is already known to you, which has a handle which is made out of aluminium, lightweight. So now what has happened is integrate the concepts what is around and then come up with a new product. This is an innovative product. Let's see the next product, which is a self-stirring mug. Many a times when we try to have coffee or tea or even boost, we always try to go around looking for a spoon to stir it so that we have a homogeneous mixture. So here in this cup, what they have done is, just below the thumb finger, there is a small switch. All you have to do is press that switch. The speed of mixing is controlled by that. So you can rotate it, and the source for this is is taken from varying temperature source. It charges, and from that charge, there is a bottom pellet which rotates, which tries to give you a stirring action. So again, a very innovative concept. You have seen this in your chemistry lab, where in which you have magnetic stirrers. You have seen the problem when you have coffee looking forward for a spoon. So here is an innovative product which is developed. Look at this innovation. Many a times when you start sleeping, many of us have this habit of piercing our hand through the pillow. When we start piercing our hand through the pillow, current state of the art is you just have to push it, because the pillows are cuboidal in shape, or it is like cylindrical in shape. You don't have a space for pushing it. What if I legalize a space? So here is a pillow which is for people who have a habit of piercing their hand inside. A small slot is made, and then you push your hand and sleep peacefully. And when you do one hand of stretching, the other hand will also be it cannot be kept in a very far off distance, because it will give a fatigue action to your sleeping. So what you do is you try to push the other hand, for which also there is a small slot. So again here, several people have this habit. Now I am legalizing it and I am making a product. I have a big problem when you give me a scissor to cut along a straight line. Tailors do it very professionally because out of practice. But if you are not a regular user, so you always have a problem of cutting it in a straight line. So who will guide? So you will draw a line. So here in the product, along with a scissor, they have integrated a laser. So this laser will throw a light, and then it will try to walk you through a straight line, so that you go along with the line and cut the paper, or you cut the cloth. Innovative idea. Again here, they have used design thinking approach. Look at the bearer who is trying to take wine glasses. The wine glasses, when you keep it on top of a table, on the top of a tray, when you start moving it for a long distance, the biggest problem what we face is balancing. So how do you make sure that you balance properly? So, and then second thing is, when people try to take one cup out, there is always an imbalance happening to the tray, and you have to balance that also through your hand. What if we make a slot, and this slot gives you a freedom of fixing while filling, as well as when you try to offer it to somebody, it is very elegant. That just by using design thinking approach, a small creativity led to an innovative product. People know kick scooter. Babies, when they put on a stroller, when they are moved, they get fresh air, they look at many things around, which is very attractive, so they don't cry, or sometimes they sleep. And many a times, by just talking, we keep walking, and we walk such a far off distance, we forget that we have to come back. So then we realize, oh, it's a big problem to walk back such a long distance. What if we integrate a kick scooter along with a stroller? So now, wherever you want to increase or decrease speed, you want to rush back home, the concept is very well used, and then it tries to satisfy the customer. It occupies the same space, and it is also modular. People can collapse and take. Again, a very innovative product. Next is the cats and dogs, which are now part of our family. They also have to be treated with respect. So if you are living in flats today, the biggest problem is the space constraint. So how do you utilize an existing space and give a sleeping space for a cat or for a dog? Here, the simple innovation is you try a cloth, and this is a product, by the way, a cloth which has 4 arms. And then it is very well, you have like your backpack, you have that locking mechanism. Here, all the things are professionally done. It is just placed and the cat is given a space to sleep. So now you have better utilized a vacant space and given a respectful space for the cat to sleep. Again, a very, very innovative product. This also has come by design thinking. We'll see what is design thinking, don't worry. Next thing, when we try to have bottles with us, the biggest water bottles, the biggest problem is as and when the water bottle becomes half and quarter and other things, but still we carry the same volume, the size. So what if we collapse it? As and when we consume the water, we should be given a provision of collapsing it and reducing the size so that when we are not using it, you can pack it and keep it beautifully. So the concept of expanding was already available in straws, which we use for drinking cool drinks, and which is also there in coolant pipes, which is also there in vacuum tubes. You can see that. So here they have developed a water bottle which gives you a freedom of bending and collapsing depending upon your requirement. Very, very innovative solution. Next, you see when you cook, there is a lot of exhaust steam and oil fumes come out. Currently, what we do is we have a stove and we don't bother about how is our gas stove shape size. We make a smoke hood which is just prismatic, and we expect all the fumes, oil fumes, steam, whatever it is, exactly will go inside through it and then get exhausted out of our flats or out of our kitchen. But here is a design where what they have done is they sell the stove and the exhaust both in pair. They make the stove as well as the exhaust in such a way such that whatever fumes come out gets accumulated through the exhaust and it is drained out. Again, an innovative solution. When we have a coffee, we would always try to have biscuits. So Parley made a huge business. The innovation what they did was pack 2 biscuits, Mary biscuit, Parley biscuit, whatever it is, pack 2 biscuits and give it for 5 rupees. So it typically was a success in India. What happened was they decided earlier 5 rupees for tea and 5 rupees for snacks. So for 5 rupees snack, what you get is Parle G 4 biscuits or Mary Gold 2 biscuits. You can also see Namkeen, what is available in small shops, is for 5 rupees. So it is assumed that you get a tea, you can spend 10 rupees for tea, 5 for tea and 5 for Namkeen. So here what they did was they made a slot in the cup such that you don't need a saucer to keep your biscuits, but push it inside the cup itself and have it. A very innovative design. And the next one is pretty interesting. The innovation here is nothing but a drawing which is given at the back of the bottle. Many a times when we buy salt, pepper or something else, the bottle looks to be very similar. And assume that content A, content B, content C is there in 3 bottles, or if you have misplaced one bottle. What happens is currently the difficulty is you have to know that you have missed one bottle. Second thing is you should know which one to keep where. So what they have done is they have drawn a continuous drawing behind. So just by looking at the drawing and incompleteness, you try to figure out one bottle is missing, or you try to make sure that this is the sequence which has to be placed. Very innovative, simple, innovative solutions. This you see nowadays in almost all the TV where they do shopping, online shopping. You see this modular, whatever, kitchen kit or something they say. So innovative product, and a collapsible filter, which is again an innovative product. So now on, we will start getting into understanding what is first innovation, and then we will see what is design thinking. So the iterative design process helps the designer to involve clients and customers in a meaningful way. Let me tell you this story. Nokia, when it was booming, I don't know, how many of you have even seen? Earlier, Nokia used to have a punch type Nokia phone, which they used to call it as Nokia 110 phone. Very robust phone. You just throw it around, just put it below a truck, allow the truck to pass by it, and then you can see that the sturdiness of the mobile phone is so good, nothing happens to it. It can be put back into action. Many smartphones today, if you drop it once, are gone. But this Nokia phone, you throw it down, it goes into shatters, you can reassemble, it starts working. Okay. Nokia was the company, was at one point of time, they were the pioneers in making phones, cell phones, and they were trying to enter into the market of India and China. So they wanted to understand what is Indian market, and then they thought they will customize the product according to Indian thing, and so that they can have a sale. So the first thing came is they found out India is a country where there is a lot of languages. So if you can make it in the vernacular languages, then it will be of big use. So that was first step they did. The next step what they did was, okay, Indians eat a lot of oil food and spicy food. So there will be traces of oil all the time in their finger impressions. So let's have an oil coating on top of our phone so that it withstands for a longer time. Second thing they observed. But all these observations, how are they able to do? When the company came down to India, started talking to the customer, looking around the customer's background, then they realized. And the third thing is, when the team of Nokia design engineers were here, when they were going around, they figured out that they are going on by an auto, and end of their ride, they wanted to cut the auto and pay the auto driver the money. So the auto driver said it is 75 rupees. The design engineer said, okay, fine, I'm ready to give you 75 rupees, but please show the meter. And then suddenly there was a pitch dark. The street lights went off. None of the designers had a matchstick. The auto driver also did not have a matchstick. Then they realized that in India there is power cut. So to get out of the power cut, if we can integrate anything into our product, we will have a sale. Then they first thought, why don't we integrate a lighter to it so that it can be used for people who are smoking that and this and all. Then they realized, oh, that is not going to take us very well because the current requirement for it is very strong. A cell phone battery cannot withstand. Then only they started integrating a torch light with the mobile phone. This idea of integrating a torch light to the mobile phone concept got evolved in India only. Nokia, such a big company where beautiful engineers are there, very famous packaging designers were there. For them, they did not realize the need for a torchlight because in those countries there were no power cut. But when they came down to India and realized this is a need, when they went back to the board, they started working and then they integrated a LED to the mobile phone. Today, that has become a mandate in all cell phones. That idea is nothing but an iterative design process which helps a designer to involve the clients and the customer in a meaningful manner. See, moment you start involving people, then they will only give you a need statement. They will only give you a need statement. In this COVID-19, everyone across the country felt, yes, ventilators have to be made. Everybody started using Ambu bag and then they started making ventilators. But then they realized this Ambu bag cannot sustain for a longer time. Including me, I have 8 versions of Ambu bag ventilators which I developed during this COVID-19. At the end of the day, when I met a doctor and I showed so beautiful that my product is so sustainable, it can run hours together. I asked the doctor, here is a product, do you have a requirement? The doctor said, no, Ram, I don't have a requirement for this. Because this has certain issues like the oxygen control. You hear, you don't understand what is the consumption rate for a customer. That means to say a patient. So then I realized I, as a designer, did not involve the doctor, did not involve the patient to develop a design. Design happens iteratively. So that's what I'm trying to see here. It is not just a strategy to come up with feasible solutions to the problem. I thought Ambu bag will give you a relief for ventilator requirement when Prime Minister made a call. But the feasible solution for a mechanical engineer was not a feasible solution for a practicing doctor. So it is not a strategy to come up with a feasible solution to the problem, but also a method to think of unimaginable solutions and then try to make them not just feasible but also viable. I gave a feasible solution, but that solution is not accepted by the doctor. So it is a feasible solution, not a viable solution. Please distinguish the two keywords feasible and viable. Now let us see the definition for design thinking. This is the tool which I have been teaching, I have been using in my life. Design thinking is a blend of logical, powerful imagination, systematic reasoning, and intuitions to bring to the table the ideas that promise to solve the problems of the clients with a desirable outcome. When you start using design thinking approach, it will try to blend in logical thinking. It will push you to have powerful imagination. Please don't think imagination means thinking out of the box. It is blending several, doing a cut and paste of several existing products, but giving a feasible solution and a viable solution using those the available solutions. And it also tries to give you a systematic reasoning. Why is this like this? Why did I add this? Why cannot I replace this? I will give you a simple example. Many of us buy phone, smartphone. Some of us are fortunate to have Apple phones, which is very beautiful, very fabulous. System is so rugged, it can do wonders. It can eat away a desktop. The cost of the phone is 35,000, 45,000, or maybe 50,000. And the other way around is people like me who buy Micromax, because I always would like to prefer changing my mobile phone in 3 years. So I buy a Micromax phone which is around about 10,000 or 15,000. What they say is this: the business people or the economist clearly says that there has to be something called as cost to performance for your phone. If you are having a phone of worth 10,000 rupees, you should at least use 50 different types of apps on a day-to-day basis. If you are not using 50 apps on a day-to-day basis, the cost what you have paid for the phone is on the higher side. So that means to say the cost to performance is very high. The performance is very low, the cost is very high. So the cost to performance value is very high. So in the same way, when somebody has an Apple phone, my gut feel says that at least 100 apps you should use every day to enjoy the performance of the phone. So look at it. So why am I tell you this? All these things is it is a feasible solution, but it is not a viable, cost-effective solution. So I don't say please don't buy Apple phones. I'm just trying to say this is one of the factors which people try to put while buying a product in the market. Okay. See, sometimes we might say BMW car is very much required for Shah Rukh Khan because of his status. A prime minister has a BMW car status. But for I and you, BMW car is cost to performance you put, it is beyond our imagination. Okay, so that's what it is. So design thinking is a blend of logic, powerful imagination, systematic reasoning, and intuitions to bring to the table the idea that promises to solve the problems of the clients with desirable outcome. So what are the features of design thinking? So the features of design thinking are, it is simple, it helps in having a beautiful and aesthetically appealing solution or product. It improves the client and the end user quality of experience. It tries to create innovation, feasible, viable solution. It really addresses the actual requirement of the end user.
Sir, I'll intervene for a moment, sir. For a
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
I would just like to request all my students to kindly keep on noting what sir is teaching here. Thank you, sir.
Right. Okay. Sorry. And students and faculty members who are attending, you please, sorry, I have not put the numbers. You note down the questions. At the end of the session, I'll be ready to answer all the questions, whatever I have solutions for it. Otherwise, through your questions, I will also learn some more new things. So design thinking helps in optimization, developing, filtering, converting, connecting, and using. Look at it, such a beautiful tool. It tries to help in optimization. Look at it. In many a times when you are attaching your phone with so many gadgets, it gets entangled. So here is a very, very simple solution. Very simple solution. So what it does is, it tries to just give you a guideway path, which is all made out of rubber, which is collapsible. You just lay it on top of a table, fix all the gadgets wire, so it does not get entangled and you can easily use it. It's an optimum solution, right? And you can develop it. The next thing you can see, when you break an egg, you have yolk and albumin. Many people say that the albumin or the yolk is not good, or yolk is rich in protein, you eat only the yolk. So if you have to only remove it, the best is use a vacuum technique, because there is a difference in viscosity. Take a bulb take a rubber ball, and then you just have vent out at the opening at one end, go very close to it and suck it. So because of change in viscosity or difference in viscosity, you will suck only the yolk. So that solution was developed. So if you have several ideas, you have to optimize your idea, you have to develop more concepts, you have to filter out ideas which are not feasible, you have to convert the data into insights, into vague ideas, and then you convert all these things into some usable form, connect customer and end user, and finally you try to use multiple tools. In fact, the French knife, or this French toolkit, was developed by using design thinking approach. So in design thinking, what we do is we have 3 steps. One is called as analytical thinking. The other one is called as design thinking. The third one is called as intuitive thinking. Many a times we all say that, oh, you have to have intuitive thinking, otherwise you cannot come with innovation. No, it's not. If you have to be innovator, you have to be a problem solver. That's all. You don't have to be intuitive. That means to say creative. Many of the creative solutions will not find a customer. Apple came out with a product called Newton. It was very creative. But at the time when it was getting released, the environment, the customer was not mentally matured to accept that product. It was a failure. Apple company thought beyond customer's choice, right? So that's intuitive thinking. So here, a design thinking comes in between analytical thinking and intuitive thinking. What is analytical thinking? By and large, engineering, whatever we study, what happens is in the examination, you will be given a problem statement and you will be given for that problem statement different constraints. You will be given an algorithm and you will be asked to validate your algorithm and check whether whatever you design, electrical, electronics, or in mechanical, civil engineering, whether it is feasible or not. So here it is an analytical thinking. Analytical thinking. So problem statement is given, constraints are given, assumptions are given, algorithm given, you try to solve, and you try to solve, you get a unique solution. That is true in a class of 100. Everybody, when they try to solve the problem, the correct answer will be a unique solution. But in reality, please understand there is nothing called unique solution. A shirt, what you wear, the shirt, what I wear, may be completely different. You like your shirt, I like my shirt. There is a shirt for every customer. There are 1,000 different smartphones available today. If we have analytical thinking and if our what academia we teach, if there is only a unique solution, then all smartphones which exist today should be all unique, right? You buy an Apple phone, I buy a Micromax phone, somebody else buys something else, somebody else buys something else. Somebody is happy with a dubious phone. So look at it. Customer, every product has its own customer. So analytical thinking means it is basically using logics and trying to go towards the solution. Deducting reasoning and inductive logical reasoning comes in analytical. But when I try to say design thinking, I should have intuitive plus analytical together to try to solve a problem. If you have to be an innovator, you should be a problem solver. That's it. You should be a problem solver. So here I have discussed about what is abductive logic. So this abductive logic is nothing but you have business, information, education, healthcare, all these things. Design thinking is applied everywhere, sir. These are information, education. Today morning, my son is now, because of COVID-19, he is studying in 5th standard. He is doing online classes. So 5th standard kid doing online classes. You know how many of us are just behind him? 3 of us. Myself, my wife, and my elder son. So 3 of us are behind him. My elder son gives a tech support for him. That means to say the teacher says, oh, take a printout of the sheet, fill it up. So he always sits there. Next, my wife sits down and she takes photo and tries to help my son to do, okay, you have to solve this problem, you have to do this, you have to do that. Then I make sure that this fellow does not leave that website and go to some other website. So basically, for a 5th standard kid to have it interactive and to sit in a seat, we need 3 people. So these online classes are not going to take us for a long. And second thing, what I realized another problem is, nowadays what they do is they do a video, YouTube video is displayed, and then what they say is they start communicating in WhatsApp. So in a class of 50 students sitting, and when a teacher says some instruction, naturally every student understands the same information in different manners. So at least 20 students have 20 different questions to be asked. So all of them, without understanding each other's voice, they start putting questions. So in the WhatsApp group, for every class, there are 300, 400 messages. So now there is an interesting problem which is open to be solved for all of us. How do you make sure the online class for kids are made interactive, as well as it exactly takes you to the place where information is available? And you can't blame the teacher. If the teacher does not give you the space of this WhatsApp message you can put, then the teacher does not know whether the student is active in the class or not. And for a child To keep the child motivated for 40 minutes, the teacher has to ask questions, the student has to respond. Now you see, I have given you a very clear problem which every house faces today. There is no software which takes care of all these things. If you do a lot of webinar, online lectures, online series, they are all monologue. As somebody teaches, you keep listening. The possibility of communication is not there. Dialogue is not there. Of course, there is a small chat box. You can start writing the question in the chat box. And in the chat box, when 50 students are writing in the chat box 50 questions, it becomes too difficult for an instructor to do. So now comes a concept of deep learning and machine learning. How do you make these questions similar into one form and give one answer for 30 different questions? So now, if the design thinking approach has to be used in solving it. So design thinking approach can be used anywhere. So this is what we have seen. So the analysis and synthesis. What is design thinking? You have two steps. One is analysis and synthesis. Analysis is first take a complex problem, break that problem into simpler problems. And then what you do is each simpler problem have different solutions. Now try to synthesize them, combine them, so that you can try to develop a very creative solution. So analyzing and synthesizing is part of design thinking approach. After that, we try to do divergent thinking. Divergent thinking means we have come down to one stage, we have identified the problem, and now after identifying the problem, we are supposed to come up with multiple solutions. Multiple solutions. So that is where it is called as divergent thinking. So in divergent thinking, what happens is you have to have a free flow of ideas. You have to have unexpected connections. You have to have multiple ideas. You have to have non-linear thinking. Non-linear thinking is, okay, we see many of us, we watch Hindi movie. Now you see, okay, there is a heroine is going separately a late night into a street. Then the next thing you yourself can have a next scene shot imagination is, okay, there is going to be a villain who is going to come, and the hero will come and join, and then they will have a fight. So this is linear thinking. Let me give you another linear thinking thought process in my own life. We all study in the very early days of our life. There was a crow. The crow crosses some place. While it is crossing, it feels thirsty. So it finds a pot. Inside the pot, there is a small, the water quantity is very low. The crow tries to put its beak inside. It cannot get water. So it drops stones and the water comes up. Isn't it? So now the same story was told by my mother to my son. So grandmother teaching a grandson. This was done. He was 3 years old. So the story was done. Several videos were shown. This has gone into my son's thought process. So after a couple of days, in a peak summer, when we were all sitting, and I asked my son, can you please get us some water? So then my son runs into the kitchen, and then he gets out of the kitchen running in the same pace. And then for 5 minutes he disappears. I could not see him. And then he comes back, and then he says, I will bring you water, and then he runs into the kitchen. So then I was curious to know what is he doing? What he has done is he has gone down, picked up some stones, brought these stones, put into the pot, so that his anticipation is the water level will increase and he can put a tumbler and take the water out. So this process is linear thinking. What is told, he is practicing. That is linear thinking. What is non-linear thinking is, many a times in the examination hall, what happens, you would have not studied the question at all. but you will still be able to solve the answer. How? You had some fundamental understanding and you thought completely out of the box idea how to solve this problem, and then you solve the problem. So that is non-linear thinking. Okay, divergent thinking means multiple ideas, free flow of ideas, unexpected connections, and non-linear. All these things will come into divergent thinking. So this is what is convergence and this is what is divergence. If you want to create choices, you do diversify. When you want to make choice, you try to converge. So this is how we try to do. We try to solve a problem. We were trying to solve a problem for a for a packers and movers. See, many a times what we do is we call a packers and movers, and we always think that packers and movers will come and then they will exactly package all the items in the house and take and go. But our house consists of many things. You need an electrician, you need a plumber to remove a washing machine. You need several of the fixtures you would have put in your house, you need a plumber to remove. You and I cannot remove. You would have started using several electrical gadgets. You need an electrician to come and remove. You need a computer expert to come and remove the Wi-Fi connections and other things. So you need multiple of things. When we talk about packers and movers, we don't even think of all those things. We just see only packing and moving, but it is not so. Packers and movers have to be attached with all these other 8 group also, because it is not only removing from your existing house, it also should be used for the fixing house. So when we try to analyze this problem, we got diversified thought, convergent thought process, and finally we were making a website like Ola, Uber, OLX. We were also trying to make an app for a courier, packers and movers. So we were doing that process. This is how it happens. Okay. So now let us see the rules which are there, principles of design thinking. So you should have a human rule. You will have an ambiguous rule. You will have tangible rules. You will have the redesigning rules. Since I'm running short of time, I will just skip and move to the next slide. So there are only 5 steps in the design thinking. So the design thinking, whatever it is, it has only 5 steps. So people call it as D-School, Stanford model and other things. It has 5 steps. If you want to solve any problem, let it be your household problem, your classroom problem in the sense inside your college classroom, with your neighbor if you want to do, with your friends, with your community, you should follow design thinking approach. The design thinking approach comes with the first step, which is called as empathy study. Please understand there is a big difference between empathy and sympathy. Empathy means you wear the shoe. If somebody comes with a begging bowl and says, please give me 10 rupees, 20 rupees, you giving 20 rupees is out of sympathy. But wearing the shoe of a person who undergoes a plight is empathy. Empathy study is very important. That is the first step in design thinking. You are supposed to wear the shoe of the customer. When the auto of design engineers from Nokia came down to India, they realized the problem of power cut. They were panicked that they could not pay money for the auto driver. They realized there is a need for electrical support which is attached to the mobile phone. When US, such a developed country, last 3-4 years back, they had a complete lockdown of their electrical system. People were completely mad. They did not know what to do. And in the nights, how to go, where to go. Their smartphones came into action and they started using the torchlight. The empathy study is very important. When I started teaching my son who is in 10th standard, okay, see, this is how you have to solve a math problem. And I was just kept on solving problem on problem on problem. And after doing for several days, 15, 20 days, my son came back and I said, I don't understand anything on linear algebra, because this poor guy was not able to find out what is x. X is a variable. What is a variable? Why do you write this in an equation form? What is the advantage of writing it in an equation form? I thought that this fellow knows, and I started my story only in solving tricks. But then I realized I should have started from define an equation, what is a variable, how does the variable change, and why are you supposed to solve this to get to this solution. Now I have understood how to teach a 8th standard, 9th standard student in mathematics. Unless I did this empathy study, I did not understand. So empathy study is the first step in design thinking. Develop a deeper understanding of the problem. The COVID, when they say ventilator, when Prime Minister called, everybody, including me, jumped and solved solutions, keeping this ambu bag. Then we realize it is not a solution. Why? Because here in ambu bag, it pushes the air inside your lung without understanding what is your capacity. And it pulls out also in the same way. So it is not feasible. So if I would have discussed with the doctor in the first round, I would have not wasted 15 days time. So this is a deeper understanding of a problem. You can ask this question to yourself. Why am I academically not performing? Why am I not able to get a job? You sit back and analyze. So that is empathy study. After doing it, you are supposed to go to the next step, is a clear definition of the problem. When I say definition of the problem, developing a tool for online class teaching, which is friendly to student and teacher by occupying lesser memory space. So you look at it, what I have done, a very clear definition of the problem. So this is to articulate the problem such that this problem can be solved. And the definition has to be as precise as possible, so that you will not do empathy study, you will not go to the customer once again to understand the problem. So definition comes the next. After the definition is done, so here is what I have to use: convergence and divergence. So when I said this convergence and divergence, I said divergence, I have to use convergence here, because now I have to first try to define lot of data problem into a simple definition. And in your case, in academia, the teacher, professor gives a clear definition of the problem. There is a big challenge of converting an empathy study into definition of the problem, which in academia we do it for you, so you don't realize. And why am I pushing very hard is, this definition of the problem converts several of the qualitative data into quantitative data. Let me give you another example. I wanted to develop a T-shirt which is for unisex. That means to say male can wear and female can also wear. So now when I went and asked my wife, what is the smoothness do you expect from the T-shirt? She said it is very smooth. Then I asked her, can you define? She said it has to be smooth. That's it. So now smooth is a qualitative parameter. You have to convert that qualitative parameter into quantitative parameter. You can use direct units or you can use indirect units. So all these things come in the definition of the problem. Once you have defined the problem, you will always think there is only one solution, because in academia we teach only unique solutions. But in reality, there will be humpty number of solutions. So the next step comes, make humpty number of ideas. Humpty means, suppose you have a single problem statement, you develop 8, 10 different ideas. Because all these ideas, when they move to the next stage of filtration, they will get merged or they will die. So you are supposed to expand and try to generate as many ideas as possible. And this is here we have to do brainstorming sessions. In several faculty meetings, what happens is they do brainstorming sessions. Today, what has happened, there is a big challenge in front of all the academia. Final year graduating students, how are we going to conduct their end semester examination? How are we going to give them grades? There are few people who are underperforming now realized in life that they have to perform. They have started performing. For them, how are we going to consider? And how is the benefit of doubt we are going to give for the students? How are we going to enter these grades with some moderation in your mark sheet and try to convey to rest of the world that this is how they are trying to make? So for here, what we do is we call all the faculty members, all the veterans, they all sit together and do a brainstorming session. Brainstorming session is you ask everybody's idea, don't kill anybody's idea. Ask everybody's idea, note down, and then you try to give a merit for every idea, try to merge, try to throw, and then you come out with a solution. So that is brainstorming. From the brainstorming, what we do is we develop prototypes. We develop prototypes because you gave an idea, but is that idea feasible to make? So that comes and that can be evaluated by doing a prototype study. And finally, when you do the prototype study, the next step comes is testing phase. I developed a prototype, bamboo bag, I developed. It worked perfectly fine. It worked only for 20 minutes. Then I realized the motor what I picked up was not working. So now I went and chose a motor and start running the motor for 24 hours. When I started running the motor for 24 hours, I figured out all the links which were loosely fastened. They all gave away. So until and unless I do the testing, I could not improvise my prototype. So now I test and make it ready such that I can go to the customer. Do you think that we can go from this test phase out? No. After the test phase, we realize only one thing. What? We have still not defined the problem correctly. After the testing phase, we will go back to the empathy study once again and try to do much more understanding of the problem and redo the steps 3-4 times such that we get a good product or an innovative product evolved. So these are the 5 steps which is part of design thinking, which every designer uses in developing successful products. Friends, if you are supposed to be innovative, you have to have only one thing. You need not be a brilliant fellow. You have to have only 2 things, 2 skills. One, you should be a problem solver, go-getter. Hook or hook, I will solve this problem. You have to have that character. Second character is you should start working in team. In academia, we always try to promote individuals, but in life, it is always the team which leads you to success. So team, you have to be a team builder, team member, team leader. You have to start working with people. If you say that I have done brainstorming myself, boss, your knowledge is limited to yourself. What I like blue color. My wife likes yellow color. I will choose all my shirts in blue color. She will choose all her shirts in yellow color because my liking is fixed. I would never ever go think of wearing a green shirt. So what is the brainstorming I have? It is only within blue, correct? So you have to be a team leader, team player, team member, and you should be a go-getter. So then you can use design thinking approach in solving lot of life problems and coming up with successful product. When Government of India, when Prime Minister Modi pushed Make in India concept, Skill India concept. People think differently, but what he really meant was this. Prime Minister Modi's vision was not to grab something from China, from Indonesia, Malaysia, and grab all the production there and do it here. He said, please don't do it. Let Malaysia continue, Indonesia continue. We will use there whatever gets developed there, but we will put our thought process, add value to the product, and make the product innovative, sell it at a better price. That is what is Skill India. That is what is Make in India. That is what is expected in Digital India and from you, friends. With that few words, I would like to conclude my talk. Thank you for the opportunity given. Now I am open for questions. So if there are any, I would like to take it. So now I hand it over back to Kumar for any
Yeah,
questions.
thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. In fact, I would like to inform you that our institute is primarily into product design only. And your talk has given us so much of material to think and also to convey to our students. And the products that you showed in the beginning are quite useful, and they are portraying a lot of ideas to us. So thanks a lot, sir. So I would request Abhishek now to kindly take up the questions posed by the students, and sir can respond to them.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. So once again, thank you so much, sir, for this amazing session. Where you articulate design thinking in a very amazing way, and with a mix of interesting ideas and concepts. You gave a very different definition of design thinking being a mix of logic, imagination, systematic reasoning, and intuition. I think there I would start this question and answer session by asking that this intuition is something which is many a times very individualistic. So how do we see that? I mean, if there is something which I feel that okay, this has to be done as a designer, probably the other person in my team might feel that okay, this might not be the correct thing. So how do we validate that intuition? And probably the second part is that where the multidisciplinary team approach helps in. So if you can help us understand that.
See, for example, when you're see our design thinking, people always have an understanding that designer means an artist. See, Taj Mahal was built by a designer, was constructed by somebody, XYZ, whoever it is. But he is not trying to sell multiple of the same product. It's only one Taj Mahal. But when we talk about design thinking approach, is selling of products to customers. Okay, these customers have problems. What I gave my son example in online class, and by the way, friends, I gave all the examples, which is all in my own life to you, because you will appreciate that these are something which you will also face. Okay, so in the online class, whatever I said, so until and unless I sat in that class and I spent 1 week time with him, I thought all the online classes has all this business is already saturated. But no, now you see this online class does not have a dialogue communication. And in dialogue communication, if 50 people ask question, how am I going to sort it out? Okay, so basically intuition means the way to solve, but your intuition has to be validated with a customer. And in the brainstorming session, I said clearly, if I give a solution, Kumar gives a solution, if Nalini gives a solution, if Rajesh gives a solution, all solutions has to be accumulated. When you do brainstorming sessions, no rejections. Accept everything. Let it be a stupid idea, accept it. And then what you do is, you see that lot of similarity will be there. Maybe something innovative will come. So then you will say A plus B will give you A star. So then we try to combine those innovative things together and then go. Intuition has to be there. But only with intuition you can't give a solution. And today what has happened is, friends, let it be faculty members and students, engineering curriculum is completely getting redefined. When I was a BTech boy, if somebody asked me what is mechanical engineering, the first thing which comes to everybody's mind is gear. Today, products are made without gear. A mechanical engineer might live in an era where there is no gear at all. A civil engineer who was earlier thought of only construction will now live in an era of only environment and energy. Okay, so things are getting redefined, and we have to have an approach of accepting. And whatever we do, as I told you, you have to be in a team. Say, for example, I like Rajinikanth. If Kumar Sambhav also likes Rajinikanth, I and Kumar Sambhav will always say Rajini is a superstar. Right? Sorry, I am from South, so I like Rajinikanth, so I took this example. But if I would have had Shah Rukh Khan lover as Kumar Sambhav, so now Kumar will say, see, Rajinikanth, I acted like this, my Shah Rukh Khan is much better than him. So now you see, in a team, if you have two people of varying thought process, then there is an intellectual learning and an evolving will happen. So it has to be multifunctional group, and it has to, your team should have critiques, because when there is a critique, your idea fails much faster. See, AmbuBag, I was madly working for 8 days. Moment the corona came and Prime Minister said ventilators ka jarur chahiye, then immediately I jumped. I just did not think anything else apart from making an AmbuBag ventilator. My thought was completely stuck. But if I would have asked a doctor at that point itself, he would have said, boss, this will not suffice my problem. So I would have failed, my thought process would have failed, but I would have learned and would have saved 7 days. What is very easy for me is very difficult for my wife. For example, my wife does wonderful cooking. Even though she gives me the complete recipe of cooking, thanks to lockdown, we have started learning cooking. So complete recipe she gives to me, I cannot do the same cooking style what she does, right? So if that has to happen, an expert of cooking, but I'm an expert in dishwashing. So I am also required, my wife does not like dishwashing. So now you see, we work as a team. Ultimately, for an outsider or for our house, we show a success. A team should be multifunctional, and intuitive thinking alone cannot take you to the final solution. So am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much, sir.
Abhishek, before we proceed, no, I just request Professor Das is also here. I have just noted his presence now. So maybe Professor Das would like to communicate something to Professor Ramkumar. I can see him here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was a wonderful lecture, Dr. Ramkumar.
Yes,
and
sir.
you should come sometimes to DTU, Delhi Technological University, and give a talk to the students.
Sir.
I also have been teaching this design thinking, and I introduced one more concept. I thought I'll share with you. Maybe you can add that. And that is seductive thinking. So we've talked of inductive, deductive, abductive, and now I'm talking of seductive thinking.
Seductive. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. You are right,
Okay.
sir. Yes.
And if you look at the advertising industry and you look at politicians,
Correct.
they constantly indulge in seductive thinking.
Correct.
Right? And what they do is that what we learned as fallacies of logical thinking,
Yes.
they use them.
Correct.
And they make them into a proper dialogue and narrative building.
Correct. Yes, sir.
So I thought I'll just share it with you.
No, thank you so much, sir. So kind of you. Yes, sir. I will make a note and I will also add this. See, since it was an introductory lecture, and sir, in this webinar, what happens, since we don't see the audience, it becomes very difficult for us also to virtually keep talking.
Yes, that is why I told Kumar Sambhav that let's have only question and answer.
Yes, sir. No, thank you very much, sir. I have noted it down. I will take it up. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So kind of you, and my regards to you, sir.
But a good thing with webinar is what sir was telling yesterday, that all of us are sitting in the front row. So maybe that is an added benefit.
Correct. That's true. That's true. Yes. Any more questions, please?
Yes, sir. So we have a question from Sugandha. So question is, design has always been there, but design thinking has recently come up as a buzzword. So
Yes.
how do you see this and justify that?
See, everything, design, when we talk in engineering design, so we always talk about a defined problem statement is there, constraints are there, assumptions are there, algorithm is there, everything, right? But design thinking, what happens, it also tries to take a customer along with you, and design thinking does not define a problem for you. Academic design means a problem is defined for you. But in design thinking approach means the problem definition is not even clear. So you have to go talk to customer, find out what they want, and then come back and then start using it. So design thinking is a tool. So this is, and this tool is not like something like C, C++. It is logically evolving, and every step you will undergo, and then you will try to come towards a solution. And after doing one full cycle of testing, I would repeat, you will feel that you have done a big blunder and you have to start once again from empathy study. 2 or 3 times iteration will now give a clarity in your thought process, and then you will go for problem solution. So design thinking is a logical approach.
Right, sir. Sir, you also talked about having two main, characteristics with us, which is one being the problem solver and the other being to, work in teams. So we also have a lot of students in here who are listening to you. And one of the things which we have also faced is that, the students have difficulty in finding out the problem and the problem areas. So what can you suggest when you are also a teacher and you can help us, here?
Sir, all the 3 examples what I told, maybe some people might think it is ridiculous, but what I told you today, for example, with my son doing an online class. Okay, so I just explained to you like a story, but that complete story, I have written an abstract and I have given it to Tata class, and they have accepted it as a project, and now they are evolving a new methodology how to solve it. So problems, you don't have to go find out from different places. The problem can be within you. For example, in your class or in your college, if there is any problem of, for example, water not getting supplied properly, or bathrooms are not getting cleaned properly, can we come out, or the floors are not getting mopped properly, can we come out with a device? Can we come out with an algorithm? See, today, what is happening, I developed a disinfectant. Today, we came in this thing, Facebook also. So we have developed a UVC corona killing device, Dabba. So this Dabba is nothing but a microwave oven where we have removed the microwave oven, we have put the UVC lamps there. And now what we propose and what we have demonstrated is you put anything inside, keep it for 5-10 minutes, it gets sterilized. So the concept, so what we did was we thought, what should we do after it? Even now I'm telling you, see, now there are so many engineering colleges across country, so many schools, all are closed. After lockdown, every parent will ask the institute, give us a guarantee that your school is free from coronavirus, which none of the academic institute can give. So how are they going to say that? They are going to spray disinfectant. So where will they spray disinfectant? How much disinfection they will spray? How frequently are they going to maintain? Where is the protocol? Nothing is there, sir. So all these things. So you don't have to go look for technical solutions. Look for small. See, for example, during lockdown period, the tires were flattened. Now, how do you fill in air? After you fill in air, how do you check? In autos, when we go, when one side of the tire gets punctured, there is a balancing sensor which immediately raises an alarm saying that wheels are not balanced. So one tire is punctured, something like that, it raises an alarm. We don't have a similar concept in all the two-wheelers like mopeds or even scooters what we operate. If we have a tubeless tire today, you will not even realize that your tire is punctured. You will keep driving 50-60 kilometers. So can we come up with a small sensor? So all these things are very common. See, today the other big problem was when my son was studying today, they were saying that, okay, you have to write the question in black and then answer in blue. And then you have to underline the important key points in red. Poor fellow has 3 pens with him. So can we integrate all the 3 pens in one pen? And then along with the pen, frequently he is also supposed to draw. So can we have a pencil also attached with it? So like this, you have to only look for solutions. See, once the egg breaks and it falls on a floor, it takes humpty number of time, or it takes a numerous time to clean the wall or clean the floor. Can you come up with a device? See, it is very trivial problem, but when you start, you look from a system approach. You divide the system into several subsystems, and then each system has to be designed. Then between two systems, you will start negotiating, and then finally you will try to make a complete system. In engineering today, we don't teach systems engineering course, but that is very important. And our students, when you do your BTech project, you will learn that systems engineering approach. So problems are many, you can identify and you can solve.
Okay, sir. Okay. So we have one more question from Anamika. Her question is that if someone wants to go for idea generation for a startup, how does design thinking help? Is it helpful for second generation entrepreneurs?
Yes. See, today, whatever I have given examples are all in today's era. I have not told some bookish thing. I have told all my own live examples. Right. So design thinking approach, it will help you, because the first step of design thinking approach tells that do empathy study. So that means to say there has to be a customer for your problem. If there is no customer, you will not have a startup company. If Nokia would have not come down to India and if they would have sold the phones, their phones will not have this torchlight at all. Maybe today we will not even have a smartphone with a torchlight. Right. See, the other thing is simple thing. Now today what is happening is the government is trying to track, okay, Ram Kumar is now affected with corona. He went 15 days back to this place and he went to Delhi. Now the biggest challenge is Ram Kumar met whom all. Right? So now the question of connecting with people whom all I have met and then having a timestamp for it is a big challenge. And this is the need of the hour now. How do you do it? Now Google and Apple have joined hands and they have come forward. What they said is, what they will do as and when the phone gets in contact with another phone, immediately there is an app which activates both phones Bluetooth. So each other immediately take an attendance for each other and then it switches off. So now what has happened, a timestamp and then this is an app. So end of the day, if Ram Kumar wants to see on January 10th, where were I? So it will tell what all are the phones which were around me. So this is a problem state. This, how did you get? This you found out there is a need because Corona has pushed us for a timestamp negotiation. So we have found out. So design thinking will be useful anytime and every time. But please understand, don't try to develop a solution and then go find out a customer. Many startups in India, the data says 99% of the startup in India dies after 2 years, 3 years, and 5 years. Why? Because students or entrepreneurs develop beautiful solutions, but these beautiful solutions don't have customers.
Right, sir.
I thought it is a solution, but there is no customer for it. Okay, so design thinking will be useful. Whoever it is, Anamika, it will be useful. You trust, you start. But when you start, Try to have a customer for your problem. And don't think virtually the customer. When we do, all of us do BTech projects, we always think virtually a customer. So that is why what happens when we do evaluation, we feel, oh, we did not think about it, we did not think about it. You will realize. Right. Any other questions, please?
Yes, sir. So, sir, design thinking is supposed to be a very human-centered process and human-centric process.
Correct.
But nowadays, we have also coming across this term called planet-centric design. And especially today, when we see the world, we see, you know, when the human intervention or interface has reduced, the nature has started flourishing. So how do you see this? I mean, the entire planet as an ecosystem, if we move towards planet-centric design approach.
Planet-centric is a set, design thinking is a subset, that's all. So it is all interconnected. It is all interconnected. See, ultimately, if you develop a product, you need a customer. That is what is design thinking. And for any product to survive, it has to have a customer. That's all. Right. When you say human there, human not there, that is all okay, sir, accepted. But finally, there has to be a customer.
Okay, sir. Okay. So I think, sir, that was all the questions we had with our participants. And I would like to request if Sambas sir would like to conclude the session.
Okay, thank you, Abhishek, and thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. In fact, we keep on seeking guidance from good faculty outside our institution at times of like board of studies or when we have to have some other functions. So we'd like to have your support and help in future also, sir. You can guide us on various grounds. So thanks, sir. Thanks a lot for giving us so much of time and giving so bright ideas. And the discussion has been quite good, quite audible to all of us. And we have been teaching these 5 steps of design, but going through the list of products and then your examples, illustrations have helped us a lot to learn design thinking. So I'm really grateful to you for giving us time. And I hope all of us enjoyed the session.
Yeah, thank you, Kumar. Thank you. So thanks to all of you for giving me an opportunity. And,
sir, one more thing I would like to ask. So we also have a lot many faculty members here, and I could see that you have been awarded for distinguished teacher. So if there's something you would want to tell all the teachers who have joined in.
Hey, I have only one thing, which Kumar's guide as well as my mentor, teachers, and first of all, let me give you a warning note. Warning note is the most endangered species in the entire world is going to be college teachers. Because today, YouTube, so many interesting videos, audios, so many things are coming up. And what we are supposed, we cannot go much better than them. We can't explain much better than them because it talks in 3-dimensional, which we are not able to. That's okay. And we cannot also. So then we have to make our class attractive. So how can we make our class attractive is try to give lot of live examples and try to don't try to just solve problems. In the sense, going to the board and then you solve some 10 problems, 15 problems, 20 problems. With that we are in. No. And try to give lot of tidbit informations. For example, when we study machine design, we talk about gaskets. But we don't even tell our students that these gaskets are used in pressure cookers. And in a pressure cooker, what is the function really this fellow does? For example, everybody we teach quick thread. Okay, quick locking mechanism in threads, right? Like boost. And immediately we all say, sir, boost bottle, Bonvita bottle. But really, what does it do? Multi-start. What does it do? How is that logically leading to multi-start? If I have to fabricate, what measure should I take? So something like this. See, one thing is very clear. A class, you run a class, undergraduate class, you run a class for 1 hour, but 20 minutes is the maximum concentration any student can have. So you try to give 20 minutes of whatever message you want. that class notes you want, but that has to be only 20 minutes. Rest of the time, you will keep going around that points or that essence what you have given in the 20 minutes in the rest of the time, 20 minutes, whatever you have. And try to balance it. Try to respect the students. In the sense, if they are if they have doubts, respect them. If they are trying to misbehave, try to tell them. Finally, they are our own kids and they are our own thing. So try to give them some space. Don't try to completely corner them, saying that you are a thief. Don't do that. You know they have told a lie. You know they have made a mistake, but give them a space to escape. And you also try to treat them with respect. That is all, sir. See, today the kids are pretty smart. And whatever information they are, all these information are there in their desktop smartphone, right? So we are just a facilitator in between. We should understand our role clearly. And we should try to do justice. 20 minutes of strong teaching, a very good shot of whatever you want to cover in the 20 minutes. So if that is the case, then faculty member before going to the class should consolidate what he is going to teach in the first shot of 20 minutes only. So we have to do much more preparations and we have to go to the class. Treat them with respect, sir, that's all. See, some of our own students whom I taught, they have become IAS officers. They were underperforming in academia. I have scolded them badly. Today they are IAS officers. What will you do? So treat them with respect. And one fellow whom I scolded is now sitting as joint secretary in Delhi. I went for a presentation. I met him and he said, "Sir, how are you?" I said, "Oh, you are here?" He said, "Yes." So treat them with respect. They will make mistakes, accept it. But try to make your class more interesting. What students want is more information than book. So that let us try to give. See, when we do NPTEL course also, don't go blindly on this NPTEL course. When we do NPTEL course also, we have been put under constraints. We have been told that try to pitch as low as possible, as simple as possible. See, this is what is our mandate given. I can't pitch it high. NPTEL courses are okay to back your understanding, but you can't use it as a trademark. So faculty members have to prepare. And today you have also a lot of access to many things. So you can do it, sir. Everybody should have confidence that they should be able to do. And try to take this profession as a passion. And we are the most endangered species. Let me be in IIT or let you be in somewhere. All of us are in endangered position.
Because doctors today also, sir, they are also getting consultation from the net. People are getting consultation from the net.
Right. So now we are the most.
Doctors also are at risk, yeah, unless it comes to hands-on.
Yeah.
So available online. Yes, sir.
Yes. And so now we should all think of growing together, integrating, treat them with respect. And maybe you can ask the students to be involved in your class. Give 20 minutes. In the 20 minutes, you can give 10 minutes time for some discussion to happen about a particular topic in the class. In the sense, okay, say for example, when you talk about gaskets, you can talk about, see, high temperature gaskets are available today, which can withstand 800 degrees, 900 degrees. How is that? Some tidbit information has to be given such that the student feels that, okay, by attending this professor's lecture, I get a holistic growth. That's what it is. Rest all, sir. There is no global solution. It is all local solution. You try to find out local optima and then try to solve the problem. That's what it is.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure our students would be really happy hearing you out, and they would love to have you again.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity. I wish
thank you so much, and thank you all.
Yeah.
I would also like to thank all our participants and Professor Das also for joining us today in the second session as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Right.
So tomorrow again, we have another session by Mr. Abhijit Giri. So all of you can join in the same link. We'll be meeting at 4 o'clock tomorrow once again. Once again, thank you all. Stay safe. Stay home. Bye-bye.